In this video, I'm going to share with you 5 things that as a teacher, I could not live without. Are you ready? Let's go. Thank you so much for tuning in today. If you're looking for more videos on how to get kids excited about reading and writing and the latest and greatest in children's literature, click that subscribe button below. If you hit that bell, you'll get a notification each time I make a new video. Hey friends, I'm super excited to be a part of this YouTube collaboration about teacher survival kits. There'll be videos of the other people playing along down below. My job was to come up with 5 things that are absolutely essential to my success at home and in the classroom. I can't think of anything. I'm pretty cool in terms of pretty laid back, don't really need a lot of things, I can't think of anything. And I know I'm supposed to think of 5 things, so this is what I did. I thought about one of my favorite quotes in education. I know it's from Sir Isaac Newton, so it's like 400 years old. But it helps me so much as a teacher. And the quote is, "If I have seen further, it is by standing on the shoulders of giants." And for me, that quote is so important because it helps me to remember that I don't have to invent everything. But what I do need to know is I need to have some really solid beliefs. And I need to look for experts who can really help me become the teacher that I want to be. And I can build upon what I learned from them and my experiences in my classroom to be successful as a classroom teacher. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to share with you 5 books written for teachers that have helped shape the educator that I am today. All right, let's go. The first book that I'm going to talk about today as being a book that has helped me become the teacher that I am today is The Book Whisperer by Donalyn Miller. I read this book every single summer before school starts because I want to be reminded of Donalyn's teaching, of putting the reader first, and everything that we do in this classroom is for them. It's not for me. I'm not doing anything in here for me or for what I'm supposed to do. I'm doing everything for my students and my readers. And listen to the subtitle. Awakening the inner reader in every child. I mean, what more can you ask for? I love this book. I love the chapter on reading freedom. I love what this book has taught me. I love what this book has done for kids all over the country. There are so many kids today that love reading because what their teachers have learned in The Book Whisperer. If you haven't read this book, please read this book. Please buy this book for your children's teacher. It is one of the most important books ever written for kids. For kids' teachers, not for actual kids. Your kids probably shouldn't read it unless they want to be a teacher someday, then they can read it. The next book that I want to talk about that has shaped my teaching heart is Book Love by Penny Kittle. I love what Donalyn Miller did in The Book Whisperer, and Penny Kittle showed me holy smokes, everything that we learn in here can be done with older students. And that gave me hope that the students that I teach in 5th grade can have amazing reading experiences when they get a little older. This book is amazing. It's just so powerful. And what Penny Kittle has done in the high school classroom with reading, with independent reading, with getting kids to fall in love with books is important, and every high school teacher needs to read this book. Every high school administrator needs to read this book. Every superintendent must read this book. It'll make the world a better place. So what I also love about this book is it's got a whole life outside of this book. There is a Book Love Foundation grant. I'll put a link below where high school teachers can apply for the grant and build classroom libraries. It's amazing. And also there's a podcast, the Book Love Foundation podcast, which is absolutely phenomenal. Recent episode with Kwame Alexander was amazing. I love it so much. I'll put a link down below for that as well. Book Love. The third book that I want to talk about is by a man named Ralph Fletcher, who wrote a fictional book for kids called Fig Pudding, which when I taught 4th grade was my all-time favorite read aloud. I loved it. If you haven't read Fig Pudding, buy the book, get yourself a couple of boxes of Kleenex because you're going to need it, and read that. But the book that I want to talk about today that Ralph has written for teachers is Craft Lessons. This is a nonfiction one. The blue one is fiction. I have had these books since my very first year of teaching, or at least one of them I think I had at the beginning, and then I got another one. I've taught for 11-ish years, something like that, and these books are so helpful. We are working on nonfiction writing here in class, and I always get this book out. Not only are the lessons great in this book, but they do a wonderful job of helping me to always be thinking about using mentor text and rooting my lessons in great literature, rooting my lessons in great nonfiction writing for kids. I think it's a really important book. It's really easy to use. Things are organized amazingly well. I think Ralph should write more books like this. So wherever you are, Ralph Fletcher, thank you for this book. Would love another one. The 4th book that I want to talk about comes with a little bit of a disclaimer. That disclaimer is, on the 2nd edition of the book, I wrote the foreword. I think the book is amazing, and I probably wrote the foreword because I gush about this book, and I think it's extremely important. The book is Still Learning to My tripod broke. Okay, my tripod is broken, but we have it kind of tucked together. Hopefully it's going to be okay. I think Still Learning to Read is an extremely important book for teachers of reading, especially in upper elementary and even into middle school. I think so often we think as kids begin to read that they can just read and they can make meaning, and then we can start to get into even more complex and difficult and challenging things because they have all of those skills. They learn those skills in kindergarten, first and second grade, and many of them did, but there are some things that our kids can't do, and that there's some things that if we just skip over that, they're never going to be able to do super advanced things. Like if you want to get a kid to understand what the symbolism is of a red wheelbarrow, and they are reading that as a red watermelon, you're not going to be able to do that. So this is a really important book, and it really helps teachers think about where they're meeting their kids where they are and helping their readers with what they need. And you can't skip, you can't take any shortcuts. So I think this book is really important, and I think you should read it if you haven't read it. The fifth book that I want to talk about is different than the first four books, because the fifth book is a book that's going to be different for everyone, and it's going to be different for each and every one of our students. For me, it was Hatchet by Gary Paulsen. And I'm actually sitting in this school that I attended as a child. And in this school, one classroom down, my fourth grade teacher read this book aloud to us. And it was the first time in my life that I realized that reading was more than just hearing nice stories. Reading was more than saying words and putting together sentences and chapters and pages and series. But reading was powerful. Reading could captivate you. Reading could be something that just would not leave your mind. A story could be something that left the pages of a book and entered your heart. And this book has stayed in my heart for my entire life. And if we can find the Hatchet for our students, good things are going to happen. And it's not going to be easy. And we need to have lots of books in our classroom, and we need to do lots of book talks, and we need to do a lot of things to find a student's Hatchet. But my fifth book is that book that will stay in the heart of your readers for the rest of their life. I'm dying to see what the other educators put in their survival kit. Maybe I'll learn some things. I'm sure that there are some great tips and tricks in there to help us to be even more successful as teachers. So check those videos out down below. Thank you so much for watching. It means the world to me. Have an awesome day, and happy reading.